Hi, my name is Goldman. I'm an attorney with Goldman and Associates. A lot of people are afraid of getting involved in litigation, particularly as it relates to divorce. And I think a lot of it is born out of fear of the unknown. It's a very human thing to not approach something or to avoid something because you don't know what it is and you're scared about it. This is why people don't go to doctors. This is why people don't take care of certain things. This is why people might not file their taxes because they're afraid of what will happen. Generally speaking, that's not the approach. Generally speaking, the best thing to do is get your arms around the situation, try to get ahead of it, and do what you got to do. As it relates to divorce, it's the exact same thing. The process is stressful, the process is intimidating, and it's unpleasant. I'd be a fool if I told you otherwise, because most people are going to say it's unpleasant to deal with judges and lawyers and courtrooms, and that's not exactly something that people grow up thinking, oh geez, I can't wait till I have that. That's not the way it is. So you need to know, though, this is what is going to happen to you when your case starts. Okay, I'm going to tell you what to expect, and this way, when it comes up, it won't be such a feared thing. You won't be so intimidated by the process. Your lawyer, and this is certainly the protocol here at Goldman and Associates. When you hire us, what we're going to do is the first thing we're going to do is file initial pleadings, which is typically the starting of your case. That is done by filing a complaint with the court clerk in the county where you reside. Generally, that's how it's going to be. There may be some exceptions. Generally, that's how it's going to be. When that happens, the court clerk will randomly assign your case to a family court judge, and that judge is going to issue a summons, which is an order to take action. That summons and the papers that we filed are going to be put together, sent back to us. And they're sent back to us for one purpose, for the purpose of achieving service on your soon-to-be ex. By service, I mean we got to get them the papers somehow so that they will have an opportunity to respond to them. This is typically done by using a bailiff or a court officer or some sort of court functionary to do that. And there are restrictions on who can and who cannot serve, but the point is we get them those papers so that they can have an opportunity to be heard on the issues brought up in the papers. And they, in turn, will take those papers, and if they're smart, they'll go hire a law firm to represent them. They will read those papers, they'll digest what they said, they'll file an answer, they'll file their own pleadings, and then the court, once everybody's in, will begin sort of a scheduling of events. The court will set up certain things that are going to happen in the case. If there's a case with children, that schedule of events will span over a period of 5 or 6 months minimum. If it's a case without children, the court will set up the scheduling of those items much quicker. So what's going to happen is initially you're going to see a lot of activity in your case because there'll be a flurry of things that have to be drafted and filed and this and that. There's a whole lot going on. And then you serve the other side. And at that point, there's often a cessation of activity, a pause. Why? They got 21 days to answer. So you're going to do all these papers, your lawyer's going to go do all these things, serve them, and then the guy gets them, and then he starts shopping for a lawyer. She starts calling her friends to see who represented them. They go through the yellow pages, they go online, they do whatever, and they try to find a lawyer. They got 21 days to do that, so you can imagine in the beginning there was a lot of activity, and all of a sudden for 3 weeks, it could very well run radio silent until your attorney will get a notice from another law firm saying, hey, guess what? We're representing so-and-so. Could be they'll do it in writing. Oftentimes, your better attorneys will simply pick up the phone and call and say, hey, Mr. Goldman, I'm going to be representing so-and-so in this case that you filed. And there will be a discussion about preliminary matters. Sometimes there are things that can't wait for the court. Sometimes we have to immediately set up, for example, some sort of parenting time schedule. The attorneys will work on that immediately. Sometimes the fear is you start the case, maybe you represent a homemaker, maybe the other side controls the checkbook, and then there's the fear of who's going to pay the bills. while this is going on, is the mortgage being paid, the utilities, the gas, the lights, the water? What about car payments? What about insurance? So oftentimes attorneys will have immediate discussions about putting orders in place to preserve that status quo, make sure those payments are paid. And so that is how the case is going to begin. Now, like I said, the life cycle of this case, if it's with children, it's going to be a minimum of 6 months. Usually after 5 months, the court will automatically be inviting you to finalize if appropriate. But remember one thing, in between when it starts and toward the end of 6 months, the court will likely have numerous conferences, status conferences, settlement conferences, different kind of events where it will adjust the calendar based on the needs of the case. Some cases can be resolved immediately. Parties are separated for 4 or 5 years. Children are already spoken for. They have no property that needs to be divided. Those are fast cases. But other cases can be more complicated. Complicated issues with children, complicated issues with assets and liabilities. And sometimes the courts will expand the calendar of those cases. And many times they'll go all the way up to a year before the court starts saying, hey, you've got to come in, settle this case, or it's got to be tried. So that's generally how these cases work. We will in the future talk about what you can expect in a divorce case as it relates to the business end of it between you and your lawyers, but that will be a subject matter for another time. If you have found this helpful, please like, comment, and share. And of course, if you have any questions about this, please feel free to circle back to us and we'll be glad to help you out.